Hello you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today's video, we are going to be doing something pretty crazy and something you guys probably are not going to be shocked about. My sister has decided to go back blonde and it's been about 2 months since she dyed her hair dark. So we are finally starting the process of going back because you know us Draper girls, we are always wanting change. And just to warn you guys, I'm sure I'll be blonde again soon anyway. So we are going to be doing a little bit of a process today. I have the Joico Color Intensity Eraser, and then I also have Scruples Color Delete. These are two companies I have worked very closely with. I love both of their products, and these are kind of similar things. This one's a permanent hair color remover, and this one removes direct dyes and semi-permanent color. So they're a little bit different, but kind of the same. We did use demi on her, so I'm gonna use half of her head in this, half of her head in this. So then we're gonna see which one works better, and I'm gonna give you guys my honest feedback of which you should use for a process like this. So we're gonna mix these up and then we're gonna apply. Okay, so we are going to be mixing up the two color removers, starting with Joico. I thought it would be really fun to compare these two brands because they are brands that I love and both of these products work great, and I just kind of wanted to see them side by side to see the lifting power each of them has. So we are mixing up the Joico one right here. We are going to be mixing it with 20 volume, and then we are going to be mixing up Scruples next with 20 volume as well.
Baby, I know all the games you play. I've seen it all before, you ain't here to stay. I'll give you what you want, yeah, I'll make your day. I'll make your day. See them other girls, put them all to shame. A little bit of love goes a long, long way. So baby, let's go, tell me what's your name. What's your name? Tonight, I know what you're here for, so don't be shy. I know that you want more, you and I.
Okay, so for both of these products, we're gonna let it sit for 30 minutes at room temperature, checking about every 5 minutes, and we're gonna compare the two sides to see how they lift.
Baby, can't you see? Love's addicting, got me tripping. I'm spinning out of control. Your body's on fire, taking me higher. Where no one's gone before. We abuse it too.
So this is the canvas that we are working with today. She has a little bit of her natural regrowth coming in. Her ends are pretty faded, and then that mid shaft is still pretty dark. When we did her hair, we used Joico Lumishine 3N, and we did fill her with a lot of golds, reds, and coppers. So I do expect a lot of red to come through when lifting this out. If you are interested in seeing the video where I took her dark, I will link that in the description box below. We are starting here with the Joico one. We are just going to be saturating. We're going to start at the bottom of the head and work our way up. And as you can see here, I'm trying to avoid her natural regrowth as much as possible. I'm feathering into it, so of course it probably will end up touching it eventually, but I am trying hard to avoid it.
In your eyes, how you look at me. Can't read your mind, but it's plain to see. I'ma make your dreams a reality. Reality. We don't have time to hesitate. You can be the art that I create. If I fall in love, that's my mistake. That's my mistake. Tonight, I know what you're here for, so don't be shy. I know that you want more, you and I know what you're here for. Baby, can't you see? Love's addicting, got me tripping. I'm spinning out of control. Your body's on fire, taking me higher. Where no one's gone before. We abuse it till we lose it. There's a reason that we choose it. Love is addicting, got me tripping. Spinning out of control.
All right, so you can see here it's already starting to do its job. It's lifting out pretty nicely so far. So now I am heading over to the other side of the head and we are going to be using Scruples now. I'm going to be applying it the same way, just feathering it into the base, and then we're going to let these sit and watch what they do.
Love's addicting, got me tripping. I'm spinning out of control. Your body's on fire, taking me higher. Where no one's gone before. We abuse it till we lose it. There's a reason that we choose it. Love is addicting, got me tripping.
All right, you guys, look at how they are both lifting. I am so impressed. Joico's obviously lifting a little bit faster only since we applied it first, but they are both doing about the same thing, and I'm excited to see what this gives us. Now it's time to determine which one won. So as you can see here, this is the Joico side. It lifted out pretty well. We have some fluorescent tones in there, and then Scruples lifted pretty well as well, but I feel like it actually lifted a little prettier, like more beigey tones, you know? And then whereas Joico just kind of like lifted full blast. So they both did a really good job and lifted pretty similarly, but I do feel like Joico lifted a little more and Scruples lifted a little prettier, if that makes sense. So now I just have her in a bleach wash. I just kind of saturated the areas that were still a little too dark, and now this is the final result. So as you can see, when all of the hair is down and dry, it looks pretty even. They did about the same thing, which is pretty impressive. Now it's time to do a full highlight. I have her sectioned off in a specific way. I have 5 quadrants in the back and 2 in the front because I'm going to be doing little sections, and then I'm going to do a paint between on each section. So I'm starting here, and we are using Schwarzkopf Blonde Me with 20 volume, and we're just going to be doing a highlight up the top of her head, and then I'm going to do a paint between after I'm done with each section of foiling. I'm going to be doing a little bit of slicing around her face only because her bang area did hold on to the color a little bit more than I wanted it to, and I really want to kick that out.
Baby, I know all the games you play. I've seen it all before, you ain't here to stay. I'll give you what you want, yeah, I'll make your day. I'll make your day. See them other girls, put them all to shame. A little bit of love goes a long way. So baby, let's go, tell me what's your name. What's your name? Tonight, I know what you're here for, so don't be shy. I know that you want more. You and I know what you're here for. Baby, can't you see? Love is addicting, got me tripping. I'm spinning out of control. Your body's on fire, taking me higher where no one's gone before. We abuse it till we lose it. There's a reason that we choose it. Love is addicting, got me tripping, spinning out of control. I see it in your eyes, how you look at me. Can't read your mind, but it's plain to see. I'ma make your dreams a reality. Reality. We don't have time to hesitate. You can be the art that I create. If I fall in love, that's my mistake.
Just my stitching came undone.
We can stitch that back up with the Jay-Z method. It's fine.
The Jay-Z fixing pants method.
Exactly.
Coming 2020.
The stew method?
For the paint between in between each foils, I am using Redken Shades EQ 7NW. The reason I'm doing this is because we did end up putting some of that color remover on her root area. Someone had told me that since it's a color remover to remove dye molecules, it wouldn't touch the natural, but that wasn't true. It actually did lift the natural. So it's a little bit yellow, kind of have hot roots, so the 7NW is going to help neutralize that. So that's going to process with the foils, and then we will tone down the rest before we rinse.
That's my mistake. Tonight, I know what you're here for.
Okay, so her foils are about 10 minutes away from being ready to rinse out. So I am wetting her hair down with the new Fremar Mister bottle, which is incredible. You guys need it. And I am putting on Shades EQ right here. I ended up doing a combination of 8GN to knock out some of the red, and then a little bit of 8N, a little bit of 8V, and a little bit of 7NB. I'm doing all of that just to neutralize the dropouts so they're not, you know, copper orange when the rest of her hair is blonde. And now we are at the bowl. You can see here that her ends are neutralizing pretty well. All those foils are going to look nice and bright. And now we are going to start the toning process. She lifted out pretty well. I'm impressed. We obviously still have some peachy tones in there, but we rooted her with a 7N, 7NA Goldwell Colorants to help counteract some of that, and then we will be toning her dropouts. But doing the slices around the face did help because it did lift out those pieces a little bit more. And sorry, my camera got touched right here, so the lens was a little bit blurry during this footage. But I'm just doing a slight shadow right here. She doesn't necessarily want a shadowed look, but I do need to kind of blend in and counteract tones, which is why we are doing this. And then we're going to tone her ends afterwards.
I know that you want more. You and I know what you're here for. Baby, can't you see? Love's addicting, got me tripping.
All right, you guys, I am shook. It's actually looking so, so pretty. We ended up toning her ends with 8V, 8N, 9P, 9V, and then just a dash of 7P as well. It lifted out pretty well. It toned pretty well. Here it is without extensions in. Obviously, it's not perfect, but color corrections never are, and adding in extensions that are a little bit lighter is going to help her get the look that she's going for. This is the best way to do it because even though it's not exactly what she's wanting, it's slow and steady wins the race, and it's going to be perfect at the next session.
Okay, you guys, we just finished this amazing transformation. We are actually shocked with how light we actually got, and we were just saying her hair does feel really good still. Obviously, it's a little bit dry. You're always gonna have dryness and a little bit of damage when you go lighter, especially this much lighter in one day. But honestly, she does not have as much damage as we thought she would, so we're pretty impressed. And we're really happy with the color we got. It's kind of funny because when we first started talking about doing her hair, I told her to realistically plan for my color. I was like, I don't think you're gonna get very light, and of course she gets her goal, so that's pretty funny. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this transformation, and thank you so much for watching.